The rise of artificial intelligence and its implementation in conversational AI systems such as ChatGPT is leading to some very important questions around data security and privacy. The use of AI and conversational technology has become more prevalent in businesses over the past few years, really over the past 9 months, you could say. And now users are concerned about how their data is being handled. So today I'm going to be talking about OpenAI's data privacy policy so that you know what you're getting yourself into when you use ChatGPT. Hello, I'm Michael Kinnett, CEO and founder of iTernal Networks. And every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific, I go live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and my personal LinkedIn pages to discuss the latest in tech and cyberspace news that might affect you and your business. At the end of my live session, I'll be answering any questions from the audience. So if you got any business tech and cybersecurity questions, get them ready. I'd love to cover them at the end of today. First, from the news, a couple of headlines I just want to talk about briefly. Microsoft has disclosed that there's been a spike in credential stealing attacks performed by Midnight Blizzard. Now, if you don't know who Midnight Blizzard is, no problem. They're a known Russian state-affiliated hacker group, and they have been making use of residential proxy services to obfuscate their attacks and are targeting governments, IT service providers, defense, and critical infrastructure and manufacturing sectors. These attacks could lead to business email compromises, data theft, and other service disruptions. So Microsoft is making the community aware that they're seeing a spike in these type of attacks from that organization. Also, we've talked about CISA quite a bit. CISA has been in the news a lot lately, been making a lot of noise. A recent analysis of over 50 federal civilian executive branch organizations through CISA has led to the discovery of over 13,000 individual hosts. These are individual systems exposed to internet access. Now that internet access is in various levels, but the critical part here is that of those discovered, around 250 had host web interfaces exposed using protocols such as SSH and Telnet, potentially exposing those to control takeover, right, from outside of the organization, from the internet. Another 15 systems had exposed FTP, SMB, NetBIOS, and SNMP exposed, and there were other servers found hosting file sharing applications like MoveIt, which has been in the news a lot lately. There's been some attacks on MoveIt systems through some vulnerabilities. Go Anywhere, as well as some SolarWinds servers that contain known attack vectors and data theft attacks. And the list goes on, right? They found other things with remote directory listings and some other system vulnerabilities in their publication. But CISA has issued an order to these federal organizations to secure any of these internet exposed network devices that were found. And they're going to be offering some guidance to these organizations on how to remediate their exposure and help where they can. So you may wonder, well, why am I talking about this? To me, this is huge, right? CISA has, over the last year, 2 years, has taken a much more proactive approach in trying to enhance the overall cybersecurity posture of federal agencies, as well as the country's critical infrastructure. So they're coming out saying, hey, here's fixing it. This is huge, right? Because there's a lot of risks out there, and to see CISA being so proactive, I think is wonderful. All right, for our topic today, we're going to talk a little bit about OpenAI's data privacy policy. ChatGPT, you probably heard about it. Many of you have probably used it. It's an AI-powered chatbot that allows users to have conversations with AI using natural language, just like having a conversation with a friend. It can also be used to provide customer support, provide news, look up products, and answer questions. And with the rise of this conversational AI, people are concerned about what data is being collected and stored by the ChatGPT system. So you may have had these questions, as you've been using it, or as you've heard more about it, or if you've wanted to use it but have been a little bit leery. So I'm going to answer some of these questions, and this comes from from OpenAI, who's the parent company that makes ChatGPT. So according to OpenAI's FAQs, ChatGPT stores all conversations and queries with its users and uses this data to improve or to make its language model better. This means that the conversations and queries you make with ChatGPT might be seen by some of the human trainers behind the scenes in OpenAI. They've said that the data will be kept as long as the account is open. So if you have an OpenAI account and are using ChatGPT, everything you ask and every response back and forth between you and ChatGPT, that's all saved on your account as long as it's open. OpenAI also collects a variety of other data, including email addresses, phone numbers, geolocation, network activity, commercial information, other identifiers for device browser cookies, and log data. OpenAI will disclose this information to its affiliates, vendors, service providers, law enforcement, and other parties involved in transactions with OpenAI. They have also said that they gather information about users from their interactions with social media pages using aggregated user analytics. Now, I want to point out, none of this is abnormal for a technology company, right? Any company is probably doing the same exact things. If you go and dig into their FAQs and stuff, if they're trying to market to you or sell you services, they're doing the same thing. Social media pages using aggregated user analytics, cookies on their website, all of these things. So this is nothing in this is necessarily abnormal, but it's something to keep in mind, right, as you're interacting with ChatGPT and using these type of tools. Well, you may wonder, okay, well, they collect all this data. What do they do with it, right? ChatGPT utilizes the data that you supply in the form of the prompts and questions that you ask the chatbot in order to improve the responses to future user queries. OpenAI states that they take steps to reduce the amount of personal information included in their training data sets in order to better improve their models. What that means is that the data you provide, regardless of its content, can add to ChatGPT's contextual memory, resulting in increased accuracy in its responses toward you in particular. One good example of this is you may be chatting with ChatGPT and say, I did not enjoy my vacation to Cancun. I would rather not return. And ChatGPT should then know that and save that in its data that it's collecting about you. And in the future, if you say, hey, can you help me plan a holiday? ChatGPT is not going to recommend Cancun as a destination because you've already told ChatGPT, I didn't like going to Cancun. I don't know who wouldn't like going to Cancun, so maybe that's not a good example, but it gives you an idea of how your interaction can help future interactions with the AI bot. Human beings that work for OpenAI might also have the ability to examine the personal data submitted to the chatbot in order to improve its accuracy. And because of this, it's important for users to be very mindful of the information that they put into the chatbot. Right? The more information you put in, the more customized its responses are going to be to you. But the more you put in, the more data you're exposing to other people potentially to know through OpenAI. All right, so some of the concerns, privacy concerns with ChatGPT, right? There is a little bit of lack of clarity around what the chatbot does with user inputs and prompts. As I mentioned, there's the possibility of inputting sensitive data, and what chatbot and OpenAI do with this data, right? The collection of data used to train the chatbot, there's limited oversight in what they're collecting, right? And they have stated that they collect phone numbers as part of their thing. So, they're using phone numbers to verify users and to do different things. And what can they do with those phone numbers? And so there's definitely some concerns about the amount of data. However, I mentioned this a little while ago, Google has tons of data on you. If you're an Apple user, they have tons of data on you, right? Any technology, Facebook, Twitter, any social media, any technology company is going to have similar stuff where they're collecting data with limited oversight. And what do they do with this data, with your private data that they have access to? Some other concerns, and this is personal as well as affecting businesses, right? Using AI systems has the potential for bias. ChatGPT is developed using machine learning algorithms, which has the potential to cause bias in certain situations. And I've been trying to think of a good example of this. And this may come as no surprise to you, but not everything on the internet is true. And ChatGPT and other similar AI systems use data found on the internet to answer questions. And so if you're asking a question and it's going out and scouring the internet, some of that data that it's pulling in may not be valid and truthful data, which can lead to bias, right? I mean, if you went and said, hey, who's the best president in the last 20 years, really, who knows what it's going to say, but there may be some bias introduced by the data that the bot is going out and gathering and looking at. And the response may be something you agree with, maybe something you don't agree with, and may be completely false. So it's very important to keep that in mind as you're interacting with ChatGPT. Some precautions, as you're interacting with ChatGPT and other, AI, Google has their own version of ChatGPT. There's going to be others coming out in the near future as well, right? So some things to think about. And this is, obviously you can do whatever you want. This is my professional recommendation. Never enter sensitive company data or personally identifiable data into ChatGPT, right? There's no reason that the bot needs to know your birth date and your address and all this kind of information of you personally or of your company, right? You can be aware of the type of information that you're sharing with there to make sure that you're protecting your privacy and that data. For your business, it's important that you provide clear guidelines on what your staff can use ChatGPT for. Do you allow it? Do you not allow it? What do you allow it for, right? Build a policy around how you're going to use ChatGPT in your organization. And along those same lines, demand some oversight for the tasks that staff are using ChatGPT for, right? Make sure that you're not just giving them unlimited access to ChatGPT to use it for everything without reviewing the output of ChatGPT and making sure that it's accurate and legitimate and applies to your organization. Encourage your staff that are using ChatGPT and other systems to secure their accounts with strong, unique passwords and two-factor authentication. Just be aware, right, that data breaches are an ongoing risk, and the cost of a data breach in the United States can be very high. So the more information you're providing to ChatGPT, the more at risk you're putting yourself of if ChatGPT is breached, the data that they have on you could potentially be breached as well. So just be aware of that and make sure you're doing your part to secure your data and to limit what you're sharing with these type of conversational bots. Overall, the use of AI systems like ChatGPT requires users and businesses to consider the implications of the technology on their data and privacy. And you should be cautious when using it for its utility. But remember, it also comes with, there's pros and cons, right? There's a lot of benefits, but there's also risks. So you need to make sure you're taking the necessary steps to protect yourself and your business. And if you have any questions on this, right, we're here to help, here to offer some guidance on that. We're going to be talking even more about AI in July. So if you'd like to learn more about it, we'll be hosting a free live webinar July 20th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. And we're going to be discussing some of the common applications of AI in some key business functions, the benefits of AI for your business, some other misconceptions and best practices for building an AI strategy for your company. So join us live. We'll be answering any questions you may have on that webinar as well. I'll make sure that the registration link is posted in the comments. Let's see if there's any questions that have come up as I've been chatting here. I don't see any live questions that have come in. So if you're watching this after the fact and have any thoughts, any questions on this, you can always contact me via direct message. You can call our office. You can comment on the post. I'll see the comments and respond to you there. You can email us or contact us through our website at itnet.works. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful 4th of July, and we'll see you next week.